Okay, I think we're live. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Heidi here, and I'm excited.
Hey.
Yes, everybody say hi. Go ahead and say hi. We have, as you're saying comments, go ahead and show some love to Julian. We have Chris here. We have Liz here, and they have some really cool things they've done. So I just want to give some highlights. So for all of you that are here, please say hi to them, make them feel welcome. We have Liz, who has taught 150 people on a Zoom party. She's taught 80 to 90 virtual paint parties. So I just want to say, that in itself is insane. So great job on that, Liz. So amazing. Chris has launched an online monthly painting group, and now she has over 200 painters with her every month, which is so cool. And then we have Julian, who started a paint party studio with zero budget. So I want y'all to give them, first off, a round of applause. Welcome. Thanks for being here. And y'all should pat yourself on the back. That is some big accomplishments. Good job. Okay. So hey, Annette, hey, Vicki, hey, Priscilla, hey, everybody, good morning. Okay, so we're going to get right into this. I know Stacy, she says, wow, I know it's insane. So I think so many times y'all hear me talking about this and I get very passionate because I see so many of you doing really great things. And so I'm really passionate about it. So what I'd like to do is, first off, let's start with Chris. So tell us just your business name and kind of how you got into teaching these virtual, teaching people online.
Okay, so my business name is Artistic Chris. So it's pretty self-explanatory there. But how I got starting online was really just, I was doing it in person. And then when COVID hit, I just had to kind of transfer to doing it online. So it was a lot of learning the technical stuff. At the beginning, I wasn't tech savvy at all. So that shouldn't stop you because like I knew nothing. And now I can say over the last couple of years, I feel I could confidently help other people with the tech part. So just little bits at a time, getting better. But really it just had to do with just COVID hitting and I couldn't be in person. So I had to do a quick switch.
Yeah. And you're in Canada, correct?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think how many of y'all that are watching right now, you freak out about the tech part of doing a paint party business or an online paint party business? Let us know if that's you, because here's the thing, these are all members of Paint Party Headquarters, which I'm so happy you are a part of it. Thank you so much. And they all, they're pivoting, they're finding their way, like Chris said. And so she's gone from, COVID hitting and then having to do everything virtual. And so now is your business fully online, virtual paint parties?
It is, yes.
Okay. Yep. That's awesome. And
I haven't gone back to in person because it's been too inconsistent around here. So
what did you start with, like with your Facebook following to build up to now? Because I think you built that really fast, didn't you?
I did in the initial beginning. So in 9 months, when I first started online, I went from about 600 to 29,000.
Wow.
But I learned, because you learn in business, don't always trust like a second party to be consistent with your business. So Facebook changed their algorithm. So I was reaching 1 million people, and now I'm down to about 130,000 people I reach. So I didn't change much in my business for that to happen. So I just learned really like that we need to have a good email list. And I'm just starting to now that I finished Tribe, I'm just starting to look into Rachel Miller's ad membership, because that's my next. I need people to see what I do, right? So
yes, definitely. You got to see. Yeah, when you're doing online paint parties, it is a different beast than in-person paint parties. So, yes. So what I like to show people is that, you can do in-person paint parties, but if you're in a situation like Crystal where you need to do online, sometimes that's a little bit of a longer road, but it's still very, very possible. And you've done this now in under just over a year? You started?
This is online this is my second year as of November. That November that just passed was my second year. So wow. This is almost actually into my third year.
That's amazing. Y'all, that's amazing. And that's the thing too, I want y'all to take from this is so many times we want things to happen overnight. If it doesn't happen overnight, or if it doesn't happen this month, like it's not going to happen. Well, I mean, I know Crystal has worked her butt off. You know, she's worked really, really hard for what she has. And I think, you know, if you looked back and, you know, 2 years from now, would you say like, oh, I wouldn't have done that? Or would you say, okay, I'm glad I sucked it up and did that? Like, which route would you say?
Oh, definitely sucked it up. It's funny because I just saw a post from another businesswoman and she said, if you had all the money in the world, would you still do what you do? And like I stopped and I thought about it and I was like 100%. Like if I had $10 million right now and I didn't have to work a day in my life, would I do what I do? And I would, because I see the change that I make in women's lives through art. So it's more to me than just the money. So for me, the route to get to having a lot of money is a bonus, but it's more these women, the interaction we have, just like I've met you, Heidi, through your membership. Like it's just, you get connections with people, you change their lives, and that is way more important to me than the money. So I would definitely do it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Liz, let's move to you. What would you, like she said, if the question was, if you're just, you know, if you didn't have to do it for money, would you still do what you're doing?
Absolutely. I feel like every single day I'm living my dream. And I had always thought about like, what if I could stay home and paint, or like just paint for a living and paint with people and teach people. And once I finally went full time, I was just like, is this real? Like I get to wake up every day and have fun and plan for my next paint party. And so I would definitely, absolutely do this, even if I had all the money in the world.
I love that question. That's a great question.
Ask
that. And okay, so you have taught 150 people on Zoom, and y'all, that's not just 150 people total. She's taught in one party, a virtual paint party of 150 people. So I've got, and you've taught over 80 to 90 online virtual paint parties. Okay, so I got to know, how did you, I've done a room of that big, but how did you manage the virtual on a Zoom with 150 people?
Great question. And I've never done that many in person, so I'm looking forward to that one day.
So fun.
But I think it's because like I kind of am a techie person. Like I've always played around with being online and on computers and stuff since I was a kid. And so once I kind of got the hang of the flow of Zoom, it's just a matter of like navigating screens and like keeping an eye on the people and the interactions. And so I was really nervous because it was like a group of high schoolers. It was yeah. And so it was
no, you can just
right. So it's like a mentor program, and they had 3 campuses of students that were in high school, and they were like, we want to combine all of them. And so I was super nervous because I'm like, okay, I haven't done a group this big. I hope I can still keep everybody engaged. But it was amazing. Like the kids, you know, I said, hey, who wants to introduce themselves? Some did, some didn't. They were super active in the chat. So it was just a matter of, okay, let's paint, let's talk, let's, you know, just interact. And it was just really, really great.
That's awesome. I love the idea too. Like when you can bring high schoolers together, you know, you can bring any group together all over the world. So that's really cool. What would you say, like for the person that's thinking, you know, maybe I can teach in-person parties, or maybe they're in an area where they can't do in-person. What would be like your like most, not technical, but maybe like tactical piece of information that you would tell them to help them get started?
Okay. So yeah, getting started with the online, I think it just takes practice. And I think that, because for me, I'm always thinking, let me go above and beyond and be perfect right away. And then I remember that's not real. And so just start small, like start with a small group of people. And, you know, you can get like a couple friends, 5 people together, and just practice. So you just get started, you know, you figure out how to log in, you figure out like what are different things that you can do to like navigate screens. Think up some, you know, think of it as in person. So it would be basically you're interacting with people, you're asking questions, you might have little activities or whatever, but just start small. And then as you like slowly build up, the more people that you can interact with on the screen, it gets a lot easier. So you don't have to have a billion people, and just, you know, pretend that you're talking to your friends. You know, don't see it as like a class, because some people combine, you know, Zoom business meetings and things like that. Like it's just you and some friends having fun.
Yeah, one girl in our group, she talked about it. She does a lot of corporate events. She talked about it. She was almost like a DJ. Like she felt like, you know, like you're like in a DJ booth, like doing all the buttons and getting everybody involved. I'm sure it feels like
that's funny.
Yeah, and I play music too, so it is like that. And I'll tell people like, type in the chat, what's the song you want to hear, and then we'll like play music.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, so I'm going to be coming back to you, Liz, as well as Chris, but I want to introduce y'all to Julian. And he actually he started his paint party studio, his in-person paint party studio, with zero budget. So welcome, Julian. Tell us a little bit about how that happened.
So it was in 2016 when Greg and I got a call for volunteer, and it was basically, see, the reason it worked out so perfectly is because there was a project that the city of South Bend, which is the city that we're in Indiana, was renovating some streets and some sidewalks in this kind of rundown area of our town. And when they finished the renovations, they wanted to create some sort of like a pop-up art gallery in this storefront that was vacant. And it was really dirty, and they needed some help getting all the stuff that was in there and just get the place cleaned up and bring in some art for one night. So from the get-go, we already have the influence of the city. You know what I mean? We were on the spot. So it wasn't monetary influence because all they gave us was a mop and some paint to paint the walls, and that's it. but it still helped. You know, it helped us that we were backed by the city officials. So long story short, Greg and I, my husband, we already had the network of artists. You know, because we were always artists. Always been our passion, and we had a network of artists and people that we already knew. So we just put out another call for artists to come in and hang their art. So anyways, we gather about 20 different artists, and we plastered the walls with beautiful art, and they even got to sell some, you know, everybody got to sell a little bit of art. And so when the community came in, because it was really busy, there was a grand opening for the street renovation, and the pop-up art gallery was there. And, you know, the community were like, you guys need to keep this. Why is it just one night? You know, we need something more like this. So the paint party idea wasn't even there yet. It was just like some like pop-up art gallery. So Greg and I were like, sure, you know, we'll keep it. Why not? The landlord kind of worked out a deal with us where like he was giving us like half of the rent, and but there was no bathroom in the place. So it was like a really crazy situation. But you know, the passion was there, and the help from our friends and family was always there. So we just kept at it. We kept going. Of course, we still had our other jobs, you know, like you, Heidi, say, we never just straight up quit what we were doing and you know, dedicated our time for that. No, we still had our jobs, but extra time that we had, we dedicated towards it. So that's how that worked out. And by the time it came to pay the second rent, Greg and I were like, okay, selling art is not going to work out, you know, because it's a small town. People don't really buy art in here. So we had to come up with an idea, you know, different ideas to create the revenues. Granted, Greg and I had no business experience. You know, selling art kind of gives you some kind of experience, but not like to have actually, you know, a storefront and all of that. And we did have a retail license that we had purchased previous, like maybe like 3 years before that, but we never actually used it for anything. So we were like, you know what? We have that retail license. We already have the storefront. So why not just go for it? So we did that. And then the thing that saved us was our mommy and me painting class. One of her friends told us about it. Greg and I have no children. So at the beginning, Greg and I were like iffy about it. We didn't know how to teach anything. I never taught anything. So I was like, I don't know about painting classes. All I could think of was wine and canvas. You know, when she brought that up, I was like, I don't want to be no wine and canvas because I didn't know much about it either. So anyways, I was just kind of laying in bed one night and I was like, I have to pay the rent. I don't want to let this go. Let's just make up that class, mommy and me painting class. So I put it up. I came up with some cute like snowman situation. And the next day we had like a ton of shares. People were sharing it all over the place. And by the end of the week, we sold out. And it was a smaller space, but we still were to manage to pack about 40 people, so 20 couples, 20 moms and their children. So it was very nerve-wracking because we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have enough paintbrushes for everybody. So it was like everybody enjoyed themselves though. It was a great time. That's when we realized the need for children's event that our community had. So long story short, that's what it was.
Oh my gosh. So you started with a mop and a bunch of excited community members. And that's pretty cool. So I just want to touch on a couple things, Julian. First off, congratulations. That's really awesome. And it's cool whenever you can bring like mommy and me classes together, especially if you're scared, you've never taught kids before. I mean, that's a big undertaking. And for all of y'all paint party hosts out there, teaching adults is one way, teaching teenagers is another way. Teaching kids around 11 is one way. Teaching kids around 5 is one way. Teaching toddlers is a whole different beast. And then teaching moms with their kids is a whole different thing, because if you've done that before, what it's like. Because the parent wants to like paint on some of the kids' art. You're like, no, like let them express themselves. And so I know that there were probably a lot of challenges with that, but I also want to touch on the fact that not only did you tackle it, even though you had no experience in it, you made a really good point. And I just want to, if you're in the comments and you agree with this, I want you to hear me so much. When Julian talked about it, him and his husband had their other jobs. I will never sit here. Like, I am not the entrepreneur that's up in the cloud. Like, I'm a big dreamer and I pray big and I dream big, but I will never be the entrepreneur that's in the clouds that's like, quit your day job, go into business for yourself, and it's all going to be okay. Like, I am not that person, and I will never be that person. I'm always a person that's more on the caution side. Like, build up your side business, because the passion you have, like Julian, is going to make you, after your daytime job, go there and make it happen, because you have so much passion. And so I think that, that needs to be spoke about more today, where let's not be the entrepreneur that's unwise. Let's not be the entrepreneur that's like, oh, let's just, it's all going to work. No, like, let's work hard. Let's, do the next step and make things happen. And all three of you have made things happen and kicked butt doing it and have made smart choices. So that is awesome. And Julian, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question, but just because the others answered it, if you had all the money in the world, would you still do what you're doing?
Yes, of course. The reason I say yes is because, to me, the reward comes when the families have the opportunity to experience a bonding situation. It's a bonding experience that you can never forget about that. You take it home, you basically freeze time. It's a beautiful time that you freeze it, you put it on a canvas, and you take it home. So, and if you think about it, nowadays, there are no settings out in our society that really are geared towards that. There's nothing like that where people, I mean, there could be a few things here and there, but to have a bonding experience where you are just enjoying your time, even if it's only 2 hours, you forget about what's going on in the background, like in the news or whatever. And then people leave, like you, Heidi, said, the people leave healed. They healed for just a couple of minutes, and they take that home.
I love that.
So that's where the reward is in for me.
Yes.
Yeah, freeze time. I love that, because you do freeze a moment. I mean, I still have all of Pixie's, reindeer from several years. We do a reindeer every year at Christmas. Right. I have like a 5-year-old reindeer, her 6-year-old, and I put those up proudly every Christmas. Like, I got a little reindeer section of all of Pixie's weird reindeers. Okay, so let's go ahead. We have a lot of comments in here. Priscilla says, I love all of y'all's stories. Let's see. Yvonne saying congratulations. Fantastic stories of success. I love that, Cindy. What I want to ask, I'm going to ask y'all kind of like a final question, then I'll let y'all share where people can find out more about you. So let's start with Chris. How has paint parties changed your life?
Well, it's changed it in quite a few ways. So the first, I would say, is being able to quit my job. So I didn't at the beginning. I worked both, and I worked both for probably a good year. And then I felt like I was on a good track where my paint parties was bringing in as much as my job. So discussing, with my husband, seeing our finances and stuff, he's always been super supportive, which helps. So he said, well, quit your job, give it a try. Worst case, it doesn't work, you just go back to work, right? So so just the opportunity to be able to quit my job and follow my passion full time. It has given me the opportunity to meet amazing people online. Not just people that I've met through my business, but people I've met through your business. People like you, Stu McLaren, Rachel Miller, Christy Hawkins, like everybody, right, that is in this kind of business. So you have been such an inspiration to me. So with that inspiration, it has given me opportunity to carry that forward through being able to inspire other people, and it just keeps paying it forward, right? So that being able to show my kids that you don't have to follow the get out of high school, have to go get an education out of school that you probably won't like because you're only 18 and you can't decide. But that you can follow your dreams. And if you have a dream and you're compassionate and consistent and your why is bigger than any obstacle that you will face, then it's achievable, right? So those are 3 main points, but those are the main ones, I think.
No, I love that. And I love that, you're able to show your kids that. I think that's so powerful, and I agree. Like Pixie, oh my gosh, she'll graduate in 3 years, and it's so hard. She goes, she has this pressure of feeling like she has to decide what she wants to do forever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have changed so many times in the past 2-3 decades. Like you can reinvent yourself and have a next act and a next act. Like there's so many ways. So I love that. Okay. So let's go to Liz. Liz, what is something, how's paint parties changed your life?
For me, I would say it has relieved so much stress. Like it's a stress-free job for me. I mean, the main stress I might have is, oh my God, what painting am I going to pick for the next thing? Or like,
Isn't that fun? It's not hard.
Yeah. And so because I was working like as a full-time teacher for about 6 years before I became self-employed and did this full-time. And it was, I was a high school special education teacher, case manager, and art teacher. So I had a lot of different roles.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a lot of different roles. And after a while, like finding out that I had anxiety my whole life, and never knew really, but I just, stress was always at an all-time high. And like I knew that painting was when I was calm, when I was painting with people, when I was around people. I just loved sharing what I love with other people and showing people that you can do this. It's fun. Painting doesn't have to be stressful. And so now, like, I sleep so much better. I feel like I'm just like more at peace within my life and figuring out like what I want to do and who I want to be. And, I turn 30 next month, so I'm able to do this before I'm 30 years old. And I'm just like super excited. So for me, it's the therapy behind it all that is just really what has changed my life.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. I was a mess before I turned 30. My 20s were a disaster. I'm so thankful they were not documented on social media. Oh my gosh, that's amazing, Liz. And I really relate to the fact of like when you're painting, the stress goes away. I mean, oh my gosh, nothing makes me more happier than when I have a brush in my hand, or especially when I'm painting like a wall mural. There's something about that I just crank up the music, and it's just, I just love that feeling. It's so, so good.
Yes.
And it was something else you said that I really liked about the stress-free painting. And then also like, your biggest stress is I'm going to have to pick the painting to do or whatever. Like we have a joke, me and my husband, because we have so many heart stories, from my dad's heart transplant to my heart story, all of that. So sometimes whenever I'm starting to get stressed out, we're like, it's just paint parties, people. Like it's not heart surgery. It's just paint parties, people. Like everybody breathe. We're going to be okay. That's smart to put it into perspective. Okay. So Julian, how has paint parties changed your life?
I think the most important change I've seen in my life, it's given me doing paint parties has given me the opportunity to be almost like a beacon of light for others. Because the reason I say this is because I truly believe that love is everything, is vibration. And for the longest time, I've realized this, for like a few years prior to doing paint parties, and I kind of transplanted that into like my personal art, because I like to do abstract art. Like that's what I love to do. These pretty paintings are for, for business, but I do some abstract paintings. And for the longest time, I kind of just put that there, and I would kind of pair my paintings with, speaking of love and just kind of loving each other as brothers and sisters, but actually having a place where I can just tell people that in their face, not like literally, right? But just by like I really relate with what you say, Heidi. Like you just the way you treat them, the vibrations you intentionally give them, people need that nowadays more than anything, and because you don't really see that, like you don't see people giving you intentionally good intentions, you know what I mean? So the reason that the fact that paint parties allow me to do that, it just really fulfills my passion and my purpose in life, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And like you said, sharing a light and sharing love, like that is the biggest thing I think people need right now is, there's so much hate out there. There's so much negativity. I mean, people are just charged up. Like they are just, you'll see somebody like, I mean, I saw, I was flying not too long ago and even in the airport, like just yelling match, and it's like everybody is just charged up and you just want everybody to like take an exhale. And I think Julian, I know just from the interactions inside of Paint Party headquarters, every time we see your post, it just speaks love. Like it speaks, you're just so happy and so positive. And so I think what you're doing is really important. And I think like you said, can be a beacon of light. I think that's so important. So I'm really, really glad you're doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because if
Heidi, I lost
may
sound.
just piggyback.
Oh no, hold on. Let's see. Let's try back. Okay, go for it, Julian. We'll see if Chris can.
Oh yeah,
hear
I
you.
was just gonna piggyback on what you said. Okay.
Oh yeah, we can.
Should I leave and come back maybe?
Yeah, leave and come back because we can hear you.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, Julian, scoot over just a little. There we go. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna piggyback because, like you said, it's paint parties. Yes, it's about art and painting a canvas, but it's the experience and what people take with them, not necessarily physically, but spiritually. So I agree 100% with you on that.
Right. Yeah, definitely, and it can really change people's lives. And so I know a lot of times, we think like it's just a paint party, and even like I know, like at the beginning, you had put up, artist work, and then you're like, wait a minute. People aren't buying the art. Like we got to figure out a way to make money doing this in the studio.
Right.
And so I think that also speaks volumes to your character, because a lot of times, especially if you're a fine artist, it's hard to go, okay, I'm a fine artist, but now I'm going to do this kind of kitschy, craft thingy, right? Like that craft thing can pay your bills and also can give an outlet to community about how
Can I say something else?
Yeah, definitely.
So yes, because I realized when I started doing the paint parties, I realized that like you said, it was paying my bills, and it was giving me more freedom to create the art that I passionately love to make. You know what I mean? So because before it was like, okay, I'm making all these paintings that are abstract, and I feel like I have to sell them in order to make more paintings. And then that stopped because then I had the revenue from the paint parties. So I was like, oh, I'm just painting for myself. I don't have to paint for other people. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I think there's something to be said for like, especially, and again, everybody has their own path, their paint party adventure. Like if you're like, want to do fine art, like that's totally fine. But if you're a fine artist and you want to make some extra money at this, like don't ever feel like, oh, I can't do that because I'm going to be a sellout. For example, I know that's a word sometimes people that's a sellout. I mean, I've heard it all. Like I've heard, I've had people bash me, for, I've had, the ceramic community get upset because we do make and takes and it's not been fired, so, and I'm like, no, I think they're missing the point. Our point in this isn't to teach a hardcore art lesson. That is not the purpose of a paint party. Our point in this is to gather people together for 2.5 hours or 2 hours, to have them disconnect from their phones, to have them connect, to have them feel loved. Like it's a different way to think about what you're providing. We're providing an experience. We're not providing like, yeah, they might pick up a few techniques or whatever, but we're really trying to find a place for them to feel love, to heal, to connect, to bond, all of those things. So yeah, I love that, Julian.
Yes.
Okay, I think we have Chris back. Chris, can you hear us?
Welcome.
Yeah, I can now. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No, that's okay. We could hear you, so you kept talking, and we were like, yeah, we can hear you, but you can't hear us. Okay, so what I wanted to do is just, we're going to have everybody share their business names, but I wanted to just remind you all, and I want, if you don't mind, if you'll be please put in your, in the comments, if you'll put, everybody that's watching right now, if you'll put how paint parties have changed your life, and whether you have gone to a paint party or whether you have started a paint party business, like how has it changed your life? I know they've totally changed my life. And yes, somebody says it's not fine art, it's fun art. Definitely. It's totally, and again, everybody has, Amy says, Heidi's right. I'm a fine artist, but I also hosted some fun, crafty type paint parties. Yeah, it doesn't, a lot of times I think sometimes we feel like if we give up our fine art or we transition and do a crafty paint party, that we're giving up a piece of our soul, or we're giving up a piece of ourself. And I think, I don't know about y'all, but my family loves to eat. Like, we love to eat. And so when I can pay bills with my paint parties or whatever, I never, ever like discount that, the fact that I get to do something so cool and make money at it. Okay, so make sure you go ahead and put how paint parties have changed your life. And let's go ahead and let each of y'all kind of say just a final takeaway for people to take action if they're wanting to start paint parties and share your business. So let's go ahead and start with Chris. How can they find you if they want to follow you, learn more about you? And then also what's like one takeaway somebody could have so that if they're wanting to start paint parties, what would they do?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook at Artistic Chris. So I think it's wrote right underneath my name there. I also have my website, which is artistic and then just a -chris.com. And my takeaway really would be just get started. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to know a single thing. There's avenues and ways to learn steps as you go. I would take and I would write down your top 5 things that you want to learn, and I would start with the very first one. So say that's just learning how to even get a sales page up, or starting a Facebook page, then just do that. And if that takes you a month to get straight, then it does. But over time, years pass. Like, it's already been 3 years for me. And if I really look at all the things I've learned along the way, they didn't come all at once, and they're not supposed to. So just get started, baby steps, keep breathing. Being an entrepreneur sometimes is very deep. Like, you feel like sometimes like you have to do all the things and you have to be the best. And you really, really don't. People love that you show up for them. You can show up unprepared even, and they just love seeing a regular face on there of somebody they can relate to. Just start it. Just get started.
I love that. Yeah. And we're artists, so we do feel things like very emotional. We're emotional beings. So, we can be sitting at a, let's say we're having a experience with our family one day, and they're going to see it totally different than we see it. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I know as an artist myself, like, I'm picking up like weird, random things throughout the whole experience. It's just, we feel deeper for sure. So yeah, I love that. That's great. So yeah, y'all go find Chris at Artistic Chris, and she's out of Canada, and she does all her business online. So let's have Liz, if you want to share where they can find you, Liz, and then what is your takeaway?
Okay, so yeah, you can find me. My name is Liz Brent, which is the part of the Brent Art, my business name. So on Instagram and Facebook and pretty much all over social media, it's just at Liz Brent Art, and then lizbrentart.com. And I'm in Chicago, Illinois. And I would say my takeaway is to kind of piggyback off of Chris, is to like just get started. And for me, being a lifelong perfectionist and, just anxious person, that was hard for me to just do. But now I do it more when I come out with like new ideas or new things I want to try. But I guess my big takeaway is start small with people you know. So don't think that you have to like put out some big giant event, you know, and invite hundreds of people and then be worried about how's it going to turn out. Like start with a couple people, you know. I feel like everybody knows somebody who's been to a paint party or paint and sip, and they'll know like what it should feel like or what they want it to feel like. So start with like some friends and family. Be like, hey, I want to test this out, whether it's in person in your living room or whether it is online on Zoom. Like use your people to help you, you know, figure things out together. So start small, start with your circle, and yeah, just get started.
I love that. And I don't know about you, Liz, but I have found that my anxiety has, in a weird way, helped me. I started referring to my anxiety almost as like my superpower versus it being like a negative thing in my life. And have you noticed that like sometimes that anxiety like kind of drives us and helps push us?
Yep. I feel like I always say it's like a love-hate relationship because it's like my anxiety is what makes me a perfectionist, which can be good and bad. Like sometimes I think too much and, you know, I worry about the little things, but then it's like doing too much is what has pushed me to the level I'm at now, and like always thinking ahead and always thinking about like how to make experiences better for people. So I'm always wondering like, how's everybody feeling right now? How can I make them feel even better during this paint party? So I definitely get that.
Well, and so many people suffer from anxiety, and I know art and painting helps a lot of that.
Yes.
So that's really cool.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Sorry. So before I went and I became like opened this business, I went through school to be a life and anxiety coach because I suffered with anxiety too. And I wanted to share with people a way to relieve it. Right. So I want to just kind of go off of what Liz said my business is based on being present over perfect in art. So I think with that is because people who have anxiety are so much in their head, right? Art helps because we engage, and engaging is a break away from being in your mind, stuck in your mind. So just going off what she said, with the education I have, I think that's why art is so helpful for people with anxiety, because it's an interrupt, right? And we need kind of like a pattern interrupt when it comes to ruminating about our thoughts and worries. So I just wanted to kind of go off of what Liz said, being an anxiety sufferer myself. It's like 1 in 4 people suffer with it. It's very popular, and it's nothing that's out of the norm. And I think the more that we can normalize that, people will start to come out and feel more comfortable and engage in things and find that, you know, that release and help that they need. So
yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's great. So it's a pattern interrupt. I love that. That's awesome. Okay, great. Well, let's go ahead and go to Julian and share where they can find you and what is the takeaway.
So you guys can go to Gallery 2910, and that's the numbers, gallery2910.org, or you can the same way look us up on Facebook and Instagram and even TikTok. And so what I would have to say, I would piggyback with what they both said, you know, just go ahead and get started. But also, once you start, don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask for help no matter what, no matter where you find yourself. Don't be afraid to put out a Facebook post on your timeline or on you know, personally to your friends or family. Friends and family, like you guys have said, you know, sometimes are not very reliable when it comes to this, but like just anybody, just anyone, just ask for help, because for some reason our society has us programmed to think that if we ask for help, we're going to be vulnerable. I can't pronounce that word.
I can't say that word either.
But it's when we are in that stage of being vulnerable that we grow the most, you know, in my opinion, because you know, like I told you guys, we started with 0 budget, and it took asking a lot of help, and to our surprise was God. I feel comfortable in this channel talking about God because of you, Heidi.
Yes.
God will send you the situations, the people, everything that you need for you to keep going, you know. And like they both said, just take it one step at a time, baby steps, one by one, and you don't have to know the entire path.
Yes. Oh, very well said. I totally agree. I think, you know, it's funny because my husband, you know, he has trouble asking for help, where I'm like, you know, well, I have a question. Like I'll ask somebody, you know, one of my friends I haven't talked to in 4 months, you know, because know I have that relationship where I can just say, hey, what's going on? Here's what I got going on. Can I run this by you? But I think sometimes you're right, Julian, in society, we have that like, we can't ask for help, or somebody's going to think we're weak, or if we say something like, aren't we supposed to be able to do that? Like, why can't we just do that ourselves? So I think that's a really good tip. And then also, that's why I love like being able to help and having other people help, because we're going to be at stages of our business where we're like stuck, like we're doing good, we're rolling along and we feel like everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, like, why am I not booking parties? Or why is the algorithm, in Chris's case, where she was able to reach 1 million, now she's able to reach 100,000? Like, what happened? Things are constantly changing. That's the only thing we can for sure know, is we're going to have change. Like, what, a lot of times people think, well, I got it dialed in, I'll just do this forever. No, like, you have to have that attitude when you're doing a business, to always be growing, always be learning. And definitely I'm a praying person, so I'm always praying. I'm always praying, because I feel like that is a very, very important part of success as well. And I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So, okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to just say a couple of comments here. We had some really cool things where people said how paint parties changed their life, and then we'll wrap up, because I know you are busy people. You have busy lives. So I don't want to take too much time, but I want to share. Sherry said, my paint party business has changed my life by helping me connect with people and bring joy to those attend. That makes my heart so happy. Sherry, you're just such a bright light. I've been on some brainstorm sessions with her inside of Paint Party headquarters, and you just want to keep talking to her. She's just so happy, and you can immediately tell there's something special about her. Amy says, paint parties have changed my life by reducing my anxiety by hosting some online paint parties. Plus, the income is nice too. That's awesome, Amy. Amy is a fine artist as well, Julian. Okay, Stacy says, Texas Paint by Heart. I started my business. I was working for the art gallery teaching. Now I'm working for myself. I have some online in-person too. And her website is texaspaintbyheart.com. Very cool. And then we'll read one more. April says, paint parties have changed my life so much. My boys are starting their 4th and 2nd year of college completely debt-free. Thanks to her art business. She says, now I'm working on retiring my husband from his job. April, you're kicking butt. James, that is amazing. Okay, awesome. All right, well, I just want to say thank y'all so much for being here. I know a lot of y'all have been with us this past week. We have been talking about all things paint party related, and teaching paint parties and how to do paint parties, because Paint Party headquarters is open. We open the doors twice a year, and these are all wonderful members of Paint Party headquarters, and we just love to support each other. So if you want to learn more about it, click the link and let us know, or pretty much anywhere on my Texas Art and Soul Facebook page right now, or on my website, you can find the link, but we'll only have it open for a few more days. So make sure you check it out. If you want to be a part of it, go ahead and join us. And for all of y'all taking time, Chris, Liz, Julian, I just want to say a huge thank you for being here and sharing your stories.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi.
All right. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.